this video, how to cut your creatinine level in half. Gathering here, I've been helping people take control of their health for more than a decade now. And when it comes to chronic kidney disease, many people are worried. They want to see their creatinine level go down, not up at their next lab test. This is why today we are going to see 10 ways to lower your creatinine level fast and to protect your kidneys. Don't miss today's number 1 in particular, because that one was used to cut creatinine in half. But all the tips of today's video are going to be crucial because creatinine is one of the main indicators of kidney function, and if you can lower it, it means your kidneys are doing better. So let's start immediately with our number 10. Take a garlic supplement. Garlic is amazing. There are tons of studies telling us that garlic is extremely effective against hypertension. It can lower systolic and diastolic pressure by an average of 8.3 over 5.5 millimeters of mercury, says a big meta-analysis. This is comparable to what you will get from standard antihypertensive medications, and it will be a terrific help in lowering creatinine level as well. And garlic has a long list of kidney protecting benefits. It's an anti-inflammatory, it helps with diabetes, it can actually improve your insulin resistance while also increasing insulin production. It also helps with cholesterol and more. So consider a garlic supplement such as kyolic, or add raw chopped garlic to your regimen. But why is garlic so great, you may ask? Well, because most kidney disease patients need to defeat hypertension before they can defeat kidney disease. And most antihypertensive medications have been linked to a long list of unwanted effects, including causing too high potassium levels and even kidney damage. This is why you want to consider natural alternatives such as garlic in order not to depend too much on prescriptions. And since we will see other remedies for high blood pressure as well today, don't forget to monitor your blood pressure regularly and to write down your progress. Tip to improve your creatinine level, number 9. Okay, this is even more important. Drink at least 8 glasses of water per day and at regular intervals. And the reason why you want to do that is not what you think. Because while it's true that drinking enough water protects the kidneys in several ways, those that are going to benefit more from being well hydrated are those with diabetes. The kidneys need plenty of water to flush out excess toxins from the body, including excess sodium, urea, creatinine, and also sugar. Science says that when you are dehydrated, you are more at risk for a glycemic spike. So protect your kidneys, and especially but not just if you have diabetes. Always drink at least 8 glasses per day. And the 8 glasses a day thing may be an oversimplification, but unless you have a water restriction, drink lots of water. Number 8. Here is a super effective way to lower your creatinine level that works for everyone. Get prescribed a vitamin D analog. A huge number of CKD patients suffer from vitamin D deficiency. And when I say huge, I mean it. Up to 84.7% of kidney disease patients have low levels of this vitamin. And you absolutely don't want that. This deficiency is linked to fast kidney damage. But the reason why you can lower your creatinine level fast by taking this vitamin is not what you think. Because you see, it's true that supplementing this vitamin is linked to improved proteinuria levels. But there is another reason why this helps. As we have seen, ACE inhibitors and ARBs are still the most used form of blood pressure control in CKD patients, even if they are dangerous. The reason why they work is because they block the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, alright? These prescriptions are in fact also called RAS, or renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system blocker. But guys, do you know what else blocks the RAS, decreasing your blood pressure instantly? Yeah, it's vitamin D. When your level for this vitamin is too low, like in up to 84.7% of CKD patients, your blood pressure is going to be out of whack, and blood pressure medicines are not going to work as they should. Always get checked for vitamin D deficiency and also ask your doctor for a vitamin D analog if you have CKD. And now you may ask, knowing how this vitamin works, why are doctors giving an ACE inhibitor to CKD patients before even checking their vitamin D levels? I don't know, but you can be smarter than that and take vitamin D. Number 7, another super smart decision you could make right now. Start exercising regularly. When it comes to lowering your creatinine fast, nothing beats an exercising program. And the reason is clear. Exercising lowers your blood pressure more effectively than any medication known to man. Exercising is also the way to beat diabetes because when paired to a weight loss diet, it targets visceral fat, the real cause of diabetes, way better than the diet alone. Exercising is also great for your heart and for all-causes mortality, at the point that even dialysis patients are recommended to exercise regularly. Okay guys, I know that some of you are probably watching me from their pelotons or from their treadmills right now. So if you are one of them, please let everyone in comment section know how much better exercising makes you feel. Yeah, my quest is to make more people exercise and less people end up in dialysis, and you can definitely help with that. So share your experience down in comment section. Let everyone know. Up next, number 6. This is a tip that can give you results that are immediately visible. Number 6 is take 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium oxide every day. Magnesium is incredibly important if your aim is to lower your creatinine level, and not just because people with CKD are usually too low in this mineral, or because taking this cheap and safe supplement can reduce vascular calcification and mortality among patients with CKD, or because magnesium is an alkalizing agent that also prevents phosphate absorption. No, it's not just that. Magnesium is also incredibly useful for people suffering from high blood pressure, at the point that researchers call it a magic bullet. And there is more. Magnesium supplementation is also key to fight diabetes. You see, having diabetes is known to cause low levels of magnesium. This is a problem because low magnesium levels will cause insulin resistance, making your diabetes worse. This is why taking 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium oxide every day is a great way to lower your creatinine level. Number 5. Okay, let's talk about the next big thing for the treatment for CKD. And no, it's not stem cells, it's not some expensive medication. This is something you can start doing right now, and that will give you a health benefit you will be able to see written black and white at your next scheduled lab test. Number 5 is improving your antioxidant level. Many people still don't believe this, but this is a science-proven fact. Antioxidants can improve the filtering ability of the kidney and lower creatinine level. This is from a meta-analysis published on the Cochrane Library. For those of you that are not familiar with the Cochrane Library, let's just say that we are talking about the best of the best when it comes to scientific evidence. This is like saying it's a confirmed fact. So what should you do in order to improve your antioxidant intake? Well, the diet is key here. You want to add as many antioxidant-rich foods as possible. You know, berries, fruit in general, veggies, legumes, and so on. Remember, many of the foods richest in antioxidants are blue, red, orange, or black. Now, there is also a trick I always recommend when it comes to antioxidant, and it's an easy one. Number 4, add a splash of lemon juice to your green tea. Okay, this is probably the easiest tip today, but it's going to work. We have just seen that antioxidants are incredibly important when it comes to lowering creatinine level. What not many people know about antioxidants is that we get way more antioxidants from beverages such as tea and coffee than any food in our diet. This is a proven fact, by the way. This is why you should follow this tip and turn your green tea into the best antioxidant source in your diet. But how does it work, you may ask? You see, green tea is full of catechins, very powerful antioxidants. They have been shown to reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as CKD, but also cancer and cardiovascular disorders. Now the problem, a study found out that we only absorb 20% or less of the catechins in green tea. This is where lemon juice makes a difference. Citrus juices, including lemon, can increase the absorption of catechins by more than 5 times. Amazing! So, add a squeeze of lemon juice and enjoy a tea that's 5 times as rich in antioxidants. Time for our number 3 now. Okay guys, we are in the top 3 now. Each one of these tips will be able to make a huge difference. Don't miss our number 1 in particular because that's how people have cut their creatinine in half. Before that, number 3, a tip that alone saved the life of several kidney patients. This is drastically reduce your phosphorus absorption. Okay guys, you probably already know that cutting your phosphorus intake, avoiding processed foods and animal-based foods, is the cornerstone of the renal diet. But you see, phosphorus is so bad for the kidneys that when we go one step further and we reduce the absorption of phosphorus from all the other sources in our diet, we can witness a miracle. In a case report I've recently talked about here on Double O Kidney, we have seen how a patient was able to go from stage 5 to stage 2 just by adding 3 to 5 cents worth of niacin per day plus calcium carbonate. So from risking dialysis to normal kidney function with a couple of supplements aimed at controlling phosphorus absorption. I know that this may sound incredible, but you see, excess phosphorus is a real poison and it's the number 1 driver of arterial calcification. It's time to talk about the number 2 most important tip to improve. Number 2 in particular is strictly correlated to phosphorus as well, and you absolutely want to follow this tip. Number 2 is use an app to track your nutrients intake, protein in particular. Look, don't miss this tip. There is a huge number of influencers on YouTube today that call themselves doctors and that are recommending people with CKD to eat more red meat. What these charlatans forget is that there are 2 things in meat that will destroy your kidneys if you have CKD: phosphorus and protein. In your foods, these 2 always go together and they can be the number 1 enemy of your kidneys, especially if they come from animal-based sources. It's not a secret that drastically reducing the amount of animal-based foods on your table is a way to protect your kidneys. But when it comes to protein, you must go one step further. This is what our number 2 for today is all about. This is going to help you solve the biggest obstacle on the road to a better kidney health. Because you see, a renal diet must provide an exact daily amount of protein, alright? 0.55 to 0.60 grams per kilogram per day of protein for non-diabetics and 0.60 to 0.8 gram per kilogram per day of protein for diabetics. This is not optional. This is a hard rule. And there is a reason why dietitians are supposed to follow rules like this when prescribing a diet to CKD patients. Because studies are linking too high protein intake to a rapid decline in kidney function. Now the scary part, some of these studies were done on CKD patients that were on a low protein diet while being monitored by a renal dietitian. So these patients were trying to follow a low protein diet with the help of a dietitian and they still lost kidney function. So if you are doing everything you can to lower your creatinine but nothing seems to work, what happened to them may be happening to you as well. Their problem was that they were getting too much protein. You don't want to do that if your goal is to lower your creatinine level. Don't worry, there is a solution and it's free. In fact, the best solution, in my opinion, is to double check that you are on top of your diet by using one of those free calorie counter apps you can download on your phone. They are actually very easy to use. You basically just weight everything you eat on a kitchen scale and you input the food and then weight into the app. There are various free or freemium apps you can use. Nutritionix, MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, Lucid, and more. What these apps give you is the total of the calories, protein, carbohydrates, and fats you are getting every day. And this will be a better way of managing your diet than just blindly following a diet, says science. A way to make sure protein intake is not damaging your kidneys. And guys, one of the most important things you can use this app to track would be our number one. Our number one is a super easy tip that gave the chance to this man of cutting his creatinine level in half. Okay, as you can see, his GFR improved by 73%, which means that his creatinine was more than cut in half. But how can this be done, you may ask? Number one is follow a plant-based diet. This may seem too easy, but it works. For some patients, all that it takes to cut their creatinine in half is to give up any animal-based food and processed food in their diet and to start eating plant-based foods only. This is what happened to a 69-year-old CKD patient that went from rapidly approaching end-stage renal disease to complete remission from CKD. And his diet was super easy. And guys, if you want to learn more about his story, my video up here is for you. In this case report, a 69-year-old man went from rapidly approaching end-stage renal disease to complete remission from CKD. And this only took 4 days of his new diet. This is what he is eating to improve. Imagine for a moment to be one of the 2 million of CKD patients that each year end up tied to a machine for life because of kidney failure. And this story could have been about one of them. The story of a man who suffered from diabetes for more than 30 years, from obesity, hypertension, and CKD. A man who was taking 13 different medications each day, and that was rapidly approaching kidney failure. This could have been the story of just another one of the 2 million CKD patients who end up tied to a machine each year. But instead, this man decided to take control of his own health. What happened next is shocking. So imagine this for a moment. Even if your doctor told you to prepare for the inevitable, you are no more seeing your kidney function rapidly declining at each new blood analysis. No. After just 4.5 months from starting your new regimen, your GFR is going all the way back to 74. Your kidney function is normal again. Catherine here. Today I'm here to share with you a message of hope. Chronic kidney disease and diabetes are not life sentences anymore. This is what a case report published on the British Medical Journal, the BMJ, tells us. Now guys, keep in mind that everything you will see today comes from this case report on the BMJ, right? And the BMJ is considered one of the very best, most authoritative health journals in the world. And guys, the patient this case report is based on is suffering, or better, was suffering from type 2 diabetes, hypertension, CKD, hyperphosphatemia, and borderline hyperkalemia. And I say was because this 69-year-old man is not suffering from many of these conditions anymore. After the intervention, his GFR went all the way back to 74, and well, this is very peculiar because someone with a GFR of 74, in theory, wouldn't even be considered a chronic kidney disease sufferer to begin with. That GFR means that kidney function is back in the normal range. Another thing he is not going to do again is taking all the medications he was taking before the intervention. You see, this man needed to take a long list of medications to control all of his conditions and symptoms. We are talking more than a dozen pills a day, several injections and more. But not today. Just 4 days after starting the intervention, he already had to suspend a diabetes medication because his blood sugar was too low. And that's not all. In just 20 weeks, he went from this amount of medications to this. Look at the doses. This is incredible. Okay, but how, you may ask? What kind of lifestyle changes has he done in order to achieve complete remission from chronic kidney disease? And while also seriously improving his blood sugar and blood pressure numbers? Well, the answer is going to disappoint some people because you see, this man is not on any kind of low-carb diet, nor on one of those diets that are a fad right now. He is following what the doctors that published the case study call a strict whole foods plant-based diet, or WFPBD. Anyway, the reason why this man improved with a plant-based diet is extensively documented in the paper. What the authors say about the plant-based diet is that, and I quote, a WFPBD has been shown over a variety of trials to successfully treat coronary artery disease, hypertension, obesity, and diabetes. The diabetes part is important here because whenever I say that people with diabetes must eat more fruit and veggies, I always get comments from people that are, well, scared because they have been lied to and told to eat meat and avoid veggies. But don't be scared of veggies. There is an incredible amount of scientific literature supporting the fact that fruit and veggies can be used to greatly improve blood sugar levels and insulin response in people with type 2 diabetes. This study was also made in order to prove just that. So question, what happens when you start to eat lots of fruit and veggies every day? Well, first of all, an impressively fast improvement in your blood sugar levels could be a possibility. This is what happened to this patient. In just 4 days, the 69-year-old man improved his blood sugar at the point that his insulin had to be reduced from 210 to 70 in just 4 days. And after having diabetes for 30 years, but it's not just that. You see, these researchers and doctors were not doing a human experiment here. They knew very well that this diet was greatly going to help the patient. But how did they know? Well, these little blue numbers you can see here are the answer. These are scientific references, alright? Each one of these blue numbers points to a previous study that demonstrated that a plant-based diet works to treat the mentioned conditions. And as you can see, each of the conditions that this diet can successfully treat has one or more references in this study. So yeah, they knew this man was going to get better. The surprising part here is how much better he got and how fast it all happened. So let me know in comment section what you think about this, but please don't just tell me that this or that influencer told you to eat meat. Ask these doctors why they think a CKD patient should eat meat. Ask for the human studies. But the title blue numbers, alright? But they will have none to show you. No literature, no studies. So if you still believe that a CKD patient with diabetes should eat meat in order to improve, well, I'm asking you again to post a human study. I'm still waiting to read it. And with all that out of the way, now the big question is, what is this man actually eating in order to get CKD into remission? Well, the way he is eating will surprise you. No, seriously, this is an amazingly well-documented diet plan that anyone could follow. Obviously, after talking to your doctor. So today, we will take a look at his diet and we will also see some examples of the foods he is eating in case you want to take inspiration. Because this is an incredibly well put together eating plan that didn't come with a calorie restriction. which is incredible because this man lost a very significant amount of weight. Yeah, I forgot to mention that he has also lost 22.2 kilograms, which is about 49 pounds. So let's start with the foods he was recommended to eat. Here, you can see some allowed foods. These are the foods he is eating at every meal every day. Then some foods to avoid. And lastly, some foods to enjoy sparingly. Now, I will go through this list very quickly, and then we will also see some examples of how the ex-CKD patient is preparing and eating these foods. So let's start with the allowed foods. First of all, on top of everything, we can see non-starch vegetables. So if you want to lose weight and protect your kidneys, you start every single meal with vegetables. Any kind of green, salads, lettuce, spinach, but also broccoli, cabbage, peppers, onions, tomatoes, etc. Almost anything that grows on plant, he was allowed to eat. In fact, starchy veggies are also right on top of his to eat list, alright? So this man had to eat a ton of veggies every day in order to lose weight, also including legumes, corn, squashes, and potatoes. There is no restriction whatsoever here about high potassium foods, nor for starchy veggies or any kind, alright? He was prescribed no portion control, so he could basically eat all the potatoes, legumes, tomatoes he wanted. When it comes to veggies, actually, the only food items that are completely banned are those fake meats and fake cheeses sold to vegans. Yeah, well, that's because fake meat is junk food. Do not eat that. Now, also very important, when it comes to veggies, the only other restriction this man has are nuts and seeds that he must enjoy sparingly, as we can see. Well, with the exception of ground flaxseed and chia seed that are on the to eat list. But what's so special about these seeds, you may ask? Well, chia seed is very healthy. It is a great source of omega-3s, and flaxseed is even better. It comes with an amazing benefit. This small seed is incredibly powerful against inflammation. Eating flaxseed regularly protects the kidneys, especially in those with inflammatory kidney disease. There are studies showing that flaxseed can improve GFR in this case. This is why flaxseed is one of the most recommended seeds for people with kidney disease. Just keep in mind that you need to grind flaxseed before consuming it or to buy flax meal. And what about fruits, you may ask? Up next in the to eat part of the list, we can also find all fresh fruits, alright? He has almost no restrictions when it comes to fruit, with the exception of avocados and coconuts that must be consumed sparingly. And we have already seen what the effect of this diet was on his blood sugar levels. They dropped so quickly, he had to immediately reduce his insulin to the bare minimum. Now guys, if you have diabetes and CKD, I don't really recommend a change in your diet as drastic as this one shown. I'm telling you this because this patient was being constantly monitored by doctors, alright? Always introduce changes in a gradual way and monitor your levels constantly. Okay, now you may see that the possibilities are endless with a diet like this. So what is this man actually eating in order to beat CKD and stop diabetes? Well, there is a couple of food items I want to focus on in particular. Because most fruit and vegetables are great for you, but there are some foods that can really make a positive difference with diabetes, especially okra. Okra, also known as ladyfinger, has huge benefits for diabetes because it decreases sugar absorption in the digestive tract, leading to a more stable blood sugar response. It's one of the few foods that can actually lower your fasting glucose levels if you just add it to your diet. It's an incredibly powerful effect, as this review of studies tells us. So add okra to your diet if you have diabetes. Just keep in mind that okra needs to be cooked on high heat by sauteing, for example, if you don't want it to become slimy. Now guys, here's something funny. This diet comes with very few mandatory food items, alright? Well, there is one exception. A food so healthy for diabetics that it was actually considered compulsory to consume at least twice every day. Clementines. Yeah, as we can see, he was told to eat at least 2 fresh clementines as snacks. Now, I also always recommend citrus fruit in general and clementines and tangerines in particular to people with diabetes, and I do that for 2 reasons. First, because they are great sources of vitamin C. And other than being a powerful antioxidant, vitamin C is probably the vitamin with the most powerful diuretic effect. Great to help the kidneys getting rid of excess water and consequently of excess sugar. The other benefit of these citrus fruits is their ability to help improve blood sugar control in people with type 2 diabetes. This fruit in fact contains nobilitin, a flavonoid that can really help people with diabetes. And now you may ask, what about his potassium levels? I mean, this man went from a diet that restricted all high potassium foods to a diet that was basically just high potassium foods, and with some high potassium items actually being mandatory. Yeah, as we can see, he was also instructed by doctors in the past to avoid these super healthy fruit and veggies, but not anymore. Now, all this man eats every day are high potassium foods such as potatoes, spinach, tomatoes, bananas, and so on. And well, his potassium levels actually became a little bit higher. Time to cut on the potatoes then? Well, not at all. No, his nephrologist here immediately cut his losartan dose in half. And this completely solved the issue. And well, another thing that really helped him was his treadmill. Oh, the treadmill, a man's best friend. Seriously, if you have the money to spare and enough space, get one. Put it in front of your television. You will thank yourself because, well, this study is yet another proof that light but regular exercising is one of the best things in the world you can do for your health. It works for blood pressure, for diabetes, for depression, for bone health, for mind health, and the list goes on forever. But what foods was he forbidden from eating? As we can read here, this is a pretty usual list of restrictions similar to what I usually advise here on Double O Kidney. Meat, fish, and poultry are completely banned, as well as refined flours and also dairy and foods with added sugar such as candy, snacks, cakes, sodas, fruit juices, and junk foods in general. Now, what they are doing differently here from what I usually recommend is completely banning all oils. And I know why they are doing this. Oil is incredibly caloric dense and it will add a huge amount of calories to anything. And you won't feel any fuller by adding oil. You will just gain weight. Now, there is an exception to the rule about oils that I usually make. Extra virgin olive oil. This oil is too healthy to be completely avoided in my opinion. But you see, the only way you can add it safely to your diet if you need to lose weight is by counting calories. Whenever I put olive oil on my foods, I always only add 1 teaspoon. So I know exactly how many extra calories I'm getting. And this is a great way to get the benefits without risking eating too many calories. But they didn't do this here, and the reason is because they wanted this dietary plan to be as easy to follow as possible. Another thing I would like to go a little bit in deep here is the ban on eggs. You see, for some patients, especially those with diabetes, egg whites could actually be a part of the diet. Why, you may ask? Well, I've actually made a full video just to explain this. It's up here if you missed it. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Bye-bye.